Good afternoon. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those species on Amazon forest. This is the type of environment that we have there. So the small streams, and we have some Marantaceae along the gradient that goes from the valley to the plateau. Sorry. Okay, let's go. So, okay. So we know that Marantaceae is this beautiful family and has beautiful flowers and fruit as well. And there is two mailing dispersers groups. It's the birds and the ants. And Carol Halverts, she and her collaborators worked a lot with Marantaceae here in Costa Rica. And she has this studying about the 5 dispersal syndromes. And I'm here talking about what I associated with when I started to do this work with those 3 types of syndromes. But you're going to see that it's a little bit different from what she saw here in Costa Rica in terms of seed dispersal. So So we are talking about 4 species of Marantaceae that have here in the Reserva Florestal Adolfo Duque in north of Manaus. So this is Manaus City in Amazonas State in Brazil. And we worked in those plots. So each line here, it's a plot. It's a permanent plot for long-term studies, ecological studies. And we sample those 4 species in 87 plots. And each type of color here is associated with one type of gradient. Because we wanted to study the heterogeneity environment. So we repeated the plots along the gradient 29 times. So we have those 2 here species. This is Goipertia calatheia altissima. This is the bird type 3 that Harvard have described. This is Schinocephon. This is the unknown seed disperser that she described. And those 2 are monotagmus anti-dispersed species, the classical one. So here we can see how is the fruit colors and the contrast with the aerial and the bracteae, and the aroma, the Schinocephon aroma, the biggest one, and the tiny ones with the dark white contrast. So we used to say syndromes and seed dispersal syndromes, but nowadays we know that most of those species that bearing a real or some reward, nutrition reward, actually they are dispersed by different types of animals. So we have the primary seed dispersers, and we also have the ants and secondary seed dispersal. This is the Hanealma alpinea that I think that happens here occur here in Costa Rica as well. So parting from that, if we wanted to understand better the seed dispersal, we needed to take into account that. And this is one of the new findings that we had, that we compared. We found a lot of crickets eating areas and dispersing the seeds of Marantaceae species. And we were only able to do that because we were doing seed removal experiments during the night and the day. So what we saw is that these complementary seed dispersal events. So we have ants during the day and we have crickets during the night. And one thing that it's really interesting is that when we compare the size of the seeds, we saw a little bit different for crickets, removing the biggest seeds further than the ants. So this tell us about all what we don't know about seed dispersal in tropical forests, especially talking about invertebrates. So thinking about that, we needed to talk and compare and evaluate this seed dispersal effectiveness framework. So this is one way that we have to compare, for example, different types of dispersal groups represented here by the different types of signs. And we can see that when we put in a plot the quality of dispersal, that is the post-dispersion phase. So once the removal happened, what happens with the seeds, the recruitment, and also the quantity dispersal, which means the number of seeds that it's removing from the plants or from the ground in the second phase. So we can see in these isolines here that the groups that are more in the diagonal upper side here, they are more effective to dispersal than the others that are here. And you can see also that there is some groups that even if there is a lot of seed removal or big value, high value in the quantity of dispersal, it's low value in the quality. And this goes from less effective, and more effective. But if we wanted to evaluate the effectiveness, we are talking about this corner here. This is tricky. Okay. Again. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, the golden touch. It's him. Okay, thank you, the golden touch. Okay. So putting more complexity on that. So it's not only about the types of seed dispersers, but also the types of the habitat where the plant it is. So if we are trying to combine that, we can have the habitat heterogeneity. It's influencing the community of the seed dispersers and also the plant species that are there, and plant adaptations for a specific type of microenvironment. And then this combined result in the plant recruitment. So, for example, here we have the signs. So the signs are different groups, so rodents, and here it's beetles. And you can see that the different colors is different types of habitats. So we have different levels of effectiveness in this landscape of seed dispersal effectiveness. So the main questions, one of the main questions of the work is how changes in frugivorous assemblages and environmental conditions influence the seed dispersal effectiveness. Okay, you can go, please. it's okay. So first of all, we have those 70 morphospecies that acting as seed dispersers. And the main attention here is for those three groups because they have more impact. This is kind of bizarre findings, but it's not ecologically so significant. And we have these 2,000 hours of camera traps to capture the vertebrates, seed dispersers. This is a jacamine, a trumpet bird, I think. with Calathea altissima, Golpert altissima. And those are the crickets. There is an ant here. This is a cockroach, another type of cricket. And we had 70 hours of directly observations. So here are our landscapes for those small seeds, Marantaceae. So we can see that there is difference in effectiveness for different types of microhabitats. So the colors are microhabitats, different microhabitats, and the symbols are different groups of seed dispersers. So here we can see that all the circles are ants, and in all cases, because those are the small ones, ants are the most effective seed dispersers independent of the environment. And here, this is it's a simulation that if we remove the seed dispersal group from the assemblage, what happens with the effectiveness? So with this upper the line, it's significant. So here we can see that for ants, no, below the line, it's significant, yes. So for ants, if we remove the ants rapidly, quickly, those effectiveness goes down. And in this case here, is if we also remove, remove the ants, the effectiveness goes down as well. So this tell us about this loss of effectivity when we lose the ants from the system. The other one, next one, please. So for the big seeds, it's a little bit trickier. Actually, for the Schinocephalum, we almost didn't have some encounters with the invertebrates, and with vertebrates, we didn't saw anything. So we still don't know seed dispersers of the Schinocephaloma. There is a smell in the fruit that seems to attract mammals, but we didn't capture anything in the camera trap. But for Golpert altissima, yes, we have the birds as the most effective seed dispersers. And if we remove just few individuals of the birds, we have lower seed dispersal effectiveness. And here for Aruman, this is really high, low values of effectiveness because not much removal. Next one, please. Okay, so effectiveness is different. So what's happened when we try to combine that with the spatial distributions of the plants there? So there is these models, it's associations of the population models, dynamics of the populations with the environment. And the hypothesis here is that because anti-dispersed species, they goes closer to the plants, they don't access the light environments in the forest, like the gaps, and so they are more shade tolerant. And also we have that the larger seeds and birds dispersed, they are more spread and more further than individuals. And the ants, they are more aggregated. So species with similar seed dispersal syndromes present the similar spatial distribution patterns in our systems as well. Next, please. So what we found is that the population structure for the small seeds, it's more related with the type of environment. So here there is this water distance model, and this is light availability. So this is closer to the stream, So the lowest level, the lowest numbers, and this is farther from the stream. So this is plateau, and this is baixio, the valley. And we see that spiccato, monotagma spiccato, is really related to the valleys. So if we thinking about the gradient, we have that. And the monotagma densiflorium, it's more related to plateau and slope. Next one, please. Okay. And for the big species, the big seed species, we don't see a lot of environment filters as we saw for the small seed species. And we have really almost nothing about the environment characteristics. Okay. So trying to summarize that, what we saw in terms of regional aggregations is that the big seeds, they are really distributed in the gradient that we have in the mesoscale of Duke Reserve, and the small seeds, they are more patchy in terms of regional scales. In the local scales, we also have more aggregation of the small seeds than the larger seeds. But different from what Hovards found here for the Marantaceae, the most associated, the species more associated with lights is the small species one that is dispersed by ants and not by birds. And this is probably because the environment type is different. Because there we hear in Duke Reserve, you have more open canopy nearest to the stream. So it's more light associated. And this is for the, this is the size of the seeds. Okay, next. So take-home message, the environment heterogeneity influenced the change in dispersal effectiveness, so you need to take it into account. The spatial distribution of the species with small diaspore seeds, it's mainly influenced by the dispersal limitations. And the gradient between the species primarily limited by the establishment and species primarily limited by dispersal. So we have monotagma spicatum really related to valleys and with small seeds with limited dispersal. And we have the Gopertia altissima, which is really, it's dispersed by vertebrates, but its environment filtered because it's not related too much with the valleys. So thinking about changing words and interactions, we need to take it in account if we wanted to understand the trajectory of plant populations, Marantaceae populations, in these changing words in the foundations that we have now going on. So this is, thank you. Happy to have answers, questions.
Obrigada.
De nada.
Okay, so now we have time for, I think, 2 or 3 questions, if there are any.
Thank you very much. I'm very curious about the role of these crickets as dispersers. I would think that the crickets they are attracted by an aerial kind of structure, right?
Yeah.
So they eat it, but they actually take the seed some distance from the. Have you been able to observe this movement of the seed and where they, how maybe you mentioned it, but I miss it. What is the average distance that they move the seeds?
Yeah, so it's a small one. It's tiny ones. Like the average distance is like 25 centimeters. It's really small, but in terms and ants, the average it's like 70 centimeters. So we are talking about small distances for the Marantaceae, but it's 25 and 70 centimeters the difference from crickets and ants.
Thank you. And the crickets never predate the seed, I guess,
I,
because
I
some of them have
didn't I
strong
didn't
vantage.
solve that.
Okay.
So they removed they jump with the seeds. I have some videos with they jumping, and there is some fights between the crickets and ants sometimes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually, but I didn't pursue that as a research line. But I mean, it's open, and I invite you to observe that on field.
Obrigado.
Anyone has a question? Perfect.
Thank you for the great presentation. So in the bird dispersed species, so in average, how many species of birds did you observe that eat these aerials?
5 species. And it's really interesting because some species are not recognized as fruit eating, seed eating. Some marmotos, for example. I don't know if you know marmotos.
What?
Yeah. So it's a understory bird, but they don't go so down as we saw records in the camera trap. It was really, really interesting, actually. Yes.
And I was wondering, they always only eat the aerial, or do they sometimes swallow the whole seed?
Yeah, this is not, yeah, I don't know actually.
Okay.
This is a good question because I don't know. In some videos you can see they swallow the seeds, but I don't know actually what happened after that. So yeah, need to investigate that as well. There's a lot of open questions in ecology with Marantaceae.
Yeah, let's go to the Amazon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly. Welcome.
Anyone else?
Sorry for insisting with questions. I've heard about. I've heard the idea that ichnosyphon fruits are dispersed by bats. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is a good question. This is some kind of annoying thing that I couldn't see anything. I think that it's possible, but my guess, my hypothesis is that small mammals can climb in the stem of the skinosyphon and remove the seeds. I think it's more likely to happen with the small mammals than with the bats, actually. Yeah. Welcome.
Anyone else? Last chance? I don't see. So thank you very much.
Thank you.